I will not give my younger sister any more inheritance. Guys, today I have a very interesting story we'll lead off with that involves an inheritance when both family members die. The inheritance is read and the will served, and the youngest sister does not seem happy. I have 4 stories for you today, 3 Am I the A-holes, and the final story of the day. We talk about a neighborly dispute that gets the cops involved. My name's Mr. Reddito. I read daily stories. If that's something you're into, check out the channel and let's hop in right now to story number 1. I'm a 46-year-old female and recently lost both of my parents in quite quick succession. They both died peacefully of natural causes and old age. I have an older brother who's 47 and a younger sister who's 32. Yes, I was 14 when my sister was born. She was a menopause baby. In fact, my mother thought that most of her early pregnancies was symptoms of the menopause. We were all excited to have a new baby though, especially me, as I was the youngest of all the cousins, and none of my friends had young siblings when we were growing up. My parents were always very fair with all of us when it came to money and time spent with us. They encouraged our hobbies and liked to spend time with us. Our dad died first and everything went to our mother. When she died, everything was split between the 3 of us apart from things that were stated, such as a set of golf clubs going to my brother and a jewelry left specifically to my sister or to me. We decided to sell our parents' house and split the proceeds equally as none of us wanted to live in it. Last week, my brother and I received an email from our sister. She believes that she should be given more inheritance because the entire proceeds of the house sale. Her reasoning for this is that she's much younger than my brother and I, so she gets to spend less time with my parents whilst they were alive than we did. Somehow, she reasons this as a reason. My brother and I think it's absolute nonsense. Our parents were clear on splitting things equally. We both left home when we turned 18 to go to university, and we were lucky that we did not need to return home for a while to save money or anything like that. My sister lived with our parents until she was 25. My brother and I have agreed we're not giving our sister any more of our share of the inheritance, which isn't much anyways, and the proceeds of the house will be split 3 ways, as specified in both of our parents' will. She said that we're being selfish and she's owed this because she did not have as much time with our parents. I don't feel I'm wrong here, but a few of my friends have suggested I make a token payment just to keep her happy. I don't think she would be unless it was a significant portion of my inheritance or my share of the house sale. Am I an arsehole for not wanting to give my sister more money just because she's younger than me? Edit. Thanks very much for all the condolences. Becoming an orphan is very hard at any age, it seems. I'm thinking I will speak to my brother about taking our sister about getting some sort of grief counseling and offer to go with her. It might be a way of finding out if there are any other issues that we don't know about as outwardly. She's a successful professional. If there's something wrong, then we will offer support. I love my sister very much, and I don't want to end up estranged over this, especially during a time of grief. Guys, my opinion on this one is simply not the a-hole. However, I do think this was a rather sad story. It's sad because both parents passed away, and I don't know if maybe the younger sister is suffering and she's not even thinking clearly, but the reasoning for her to get more inheritance was simply silly. I'm glad OP went with the wishes of her late parents stated in the will and is deciding not to give any more money. Guys, if you've ever had any similar stories or relations with inheritance and you want to share your story, drop it in the comment section right below. The next story on the day is a very interesting one. It involves a father who, during counseling, tells him, I do not want any more children, and I regret that I ever had children. As you can guess, his wife was not very happy with this answer. Guys, story 2 is about to happen right now. My wife and I are both 42 and in marriage counseling after our marriage basically went to shit. It was after having kids, 6 and 4-year-old twins. A lot of issues and disagreements have come up in our marriage that has driven us apart, and I've been working through my resentment that going back for one more baby resulted in twins, including one which we're pretty sure has ADHD and ODD and is a nightmare child. Our counselor asked me if I would have children if I had to do it all over again. I said, honestly, no. I love my kids and I would take a bullet for them. But if I had the chance to go back 24 when I finished grad school and could do my life over again, I would not choose fatherhood. It's not that fulfilling experience everyone claims, and while I love my children, the sacrifices are not worth it to me. I have a much happier life before having children and have gone from someone who loves life to someone who just makes it through the day, working a job he hates to provide for the wife and kids while silently wishing this was not my life. My wife is furious and taking it the wrong way, and even told our 6-year-old, "Daddy wishes you were never born," which makes me livid. You don't tell a kid that. Yes, I wish I never had kids, but I do love them. Would never hurt them or want them to be upset. And I did not say it in front of my kids, and I never ever will. I said it in my marriage counseling, what should be a safe space to talk about feelings. It has become a huge fight in our marriage. It's not going to be saved. I know she will try and use this against me in my divorce court to try to get sole custody and take everything and lie to the kids who I do love and still want to be a dad to. She is incapable of understanding that you can love your kids, but also feel that parenthood was not the best choice. Am I the a-hole for saying it though? Edit. Okay, this blew up. There's no way I can reply to everyone's questions, but to address a couple. I have 3 kids, not 4. One child is 6 and 2 are 4. English is not my first language and I forgot the comma, and even so, that sentence wouldn't have been much clearer in my native language. When I say I resent having twins, I'm not saying it's my wife's fault, but 3 children is more than we budgeted or bargained for. And I need to pick up a lot of overtime, and I would not have to do it if we just had 2 kids. And that is what I resent. And that the other child with ADHD, my life is basically work and dealing with kids. And do you know what ODD is? This child always refuses to do what's asked, gets angry and throws a tantrum when asked to do something he doesn't want to do, hits and kicks others, deliberately annoys and hurts people, is extremely spiteful, screams and kicks me constantly. Always. All day, every day. It's exhausting and it's hell. Yeah, I would have him again. Psych. Most people wouldn't if they had to raise him. Just because I wouldn't do this over again doesn't mean I'm not committed to being a good dad and being present in their lives today. I just would not do it over again if I could redo my adult life. My first kid was not born at 24. I just said that because if I could do my whole past university life differently, I would change some other things too, mainly in my career. And to be honest, after all this, I regret marrying my wife, which is why I said it that way. Regarding calling the ADHD ODD twin a nightmare, go Google what that means. It is very difficult to manage, and he's even been kicked out of 3 daycare places because they could not handle him, and my parents even refused to babysit. We never get a break from home and no one can handle it. Okay guys, I want to discuss this one in the comment section below. Do you think OP was the a-hole in this situation, yes or no? I can understand where OP was coming from when he stated he only wanted to have 2 children so that they could monetarily deal with it. He knew that they could not afford 3 children, and with the ADHD of the 3rd child, I think it pushed OP to his limit. Also, what he said in counseling, I think should have stayed in counseling, and the mother telling the child, well, I think that's just horrible. There's one comment in particular I would like to read from the original post. It states, "Throwaway, I love my 2 daughters so much, but if I could do it over all again, I would not be a mom. It's still a big taboo to admit that having children is not the most amazing thing in the world, but for a lot of us, the lows far outweigh the highs. I'd never ever tell my kids I feel this way, but I think this is something you should be able to be honest about with your partner in marriage counseling. And the fact that she told your child this is disgusting. You are not the a-hole. Guys, let me know what you make of this in the comment section below. Do you agree or not? The next story we're going to talk about is an Am I the A-hole story, and the title is Am I the A-hole for tricking my in-laws into trying my food? Here we go, guys. Story number 3. This isn't necessarily my proudest moment, but I'm tired of being the outcast. I'm a 32-year-old female and my husband Pete's 34. Comes from a family where the women are all bakers. I'm a baker myself, and I used to sell out of my house under my state cottage laws, but stopped because I like it just as a hobby. His sister-in-law Kay, who's 39, is the one who's known for her cupcakes and cake pops. When I first met everyone years ago, it was the first thing I learned. Everyone talked about everything she made. Even when Pete mentioned how good my stuff was, everyone would say that Kay sells her and they're popular, so they must be better. Whenever I bring treats, they are often left untouched because, quote, they're not Kay's. Yes, I've been told that before. They ask me to bring something every get-together and never touch it. To be clear, Kay is mainly a baker, whereas I bake and specialize in professionally decorated cakes. Kay says that overly decorated cakes are compensating for their bad taste, and Pete's family agrees. We had a barbecue Monday for Memorial Day, and everyone made their treats. Kay decided to bring cake pops, and she posted them on her Instagram the night before. So, I know this is immature. I made the exact same ones she did. Same flavor, same design. We got there and everyone asked where my treats were. I said they're in the car, I'll go get them in a minute. I waited for everyone to be outside, then I brought mine in and put them next to Kay's. After we eat, I noticed the family eating my cake pops and not Kay's. She did not notice at first and then asked if they weren't feeling the cake pops. They said they just ate them and they were the best she's ever made and asked what she did different. Mother-in-law even said they looked so much better in person than in the Instagram picture. Kay was confused and said hers were still on the table. That's when I said, "Oh, I brought those. Glad you enjoyed them." Her husband said he had not had one yet. Lies, he ate 2. And everyone else just said, yeah, they were okay. Kay did not say anything the rest of the night. Pete thought it was funny. He did not know I did it until the reveal, and his brother, Kay's husband, said yesterday that what I did was mean, and I'm just mad that Kay's a better baker. But Pete said it's ridiculous, and the family, including Kay, puts down my baking when they won't even try it, all because I'm not Kay. Guys, am I the a-hole? Guys, I want to say I absolutely love this story. It's a mix of karma and just downright hilariousness. I mean, the fact that the other family would not even try her sweets because the so-called baker is supposed to be so famous for selling her cake pops. Well, it turns out OP makes one heck of a cake pop. Guys, let me know if you've ever been in any similar situation with an in-law or maybe family members that think your cooking is just bad when in reality they won't give you a shot. I thought this was hilarious and in my opinion, not the a-hole at all. Guys, our final story of the day is one you will not forget. It's a neighborhood dispute because a neighbor was using a hammer to nail a picture on the wall. Cops get involved, a pregnant woman gets involved. Guys, this story is wild. It's coming at you right now, and if you're enjoying so far, do subscribe and check that like button on this video. Here comes the final story of the day. So, on today's episode of What the F from the Neighbors, I need to have them approve when I do things that make any sort of noise. My neighbor just rang my doorbell to tell me his wife said stop hammering. I was dumbfounded. I just kind of stared and said, "Excuse me?" And he informed me that we would be unable to make any sort of noise for the next few months because of the baby. To which I laughed in his face and closed the door. And now his wife's screaming at my door and he's messaging me to just please do so. Just do what his wife says. So, some background. My spouse bought this house in 2011 and both houses are single-family detached homes. Both lots are 1.5 lots, so there's 33 feet roughly between our houses, compared to the 6 feet for the reach of the street. Neighbor's husband was already in his house. I moved in 8 years ago. Shortly after, saw the neighbor for the first time, and it was someone I've known since I was 4. Went to school all the way through high school together. We're 40. 3 years ago, he met someone. She had, at the time, a 2-year-old girl. She would have stayed at his house, and I would have constantly find the kid wandering around in the streets. They would just send her outside with no supervision, no toys, no fenced yard, and expect her to entertain herself. The child was and still is nothing but a brat. 2 years ago, she moved in with her daughter. I run a daycare, so my yard is full of fun toys. But we also have 3 other fenced-off areas. One for our pool in the summer, one for our dogs, and one for our hot tub. All have separate fences and self-closing gates, plus my external fence is 6 feet. During 2020, when COVID hit, the bad kids were doing virtual schooling from home. She never actually did it. She would be ringing my doorbell in the middle of the day, asking me to open my yard for her. I would explain that she can't be here when I have daycare kids, and my daughter will come out to play after dinner. She went to their backyard, dragged patio furniture to my fence, and climbed it. Who knows how long she was actually in there, but she decided she was done and then could not get out. The latch from my main gate is at the very top, so the babies can't open it when my BZCK is turned. She started screaming. I ran out in a panic, took her home and explained what happened to Mom, and Mom gave me shit for just not allowing her to play. I face a $100,000 fine if she's caught on my property during daycare hours. I explained this, and she still snapped and called me a witch. I left it at that. Happened a handful more times, by the way. I started sending them daycare invoices, and still kept happening. I finally told them I would have to call the police next time, which I did. Except this time, Mom and Grandpa were both sitting outside on the stairs and watched her do it. Also, never bothered to come help her open the gate when she started screaming. Police gave them crap and told them to stop or the mom would be charged with child endangering. I now have proximity sensors at the top of my fence and get a notification if anything goes over it. It's gotten better as she's gotten older, so last summer, we set up our above-ground pool and just ordered a new pump system and heater. Pool was half filled. I had also just done up all my planters. I casually glanced at my security cameras and see her by the pool. I run out. Main gate was open as the neighborhood kids were running from yards to yard playing. She took it upon herself to go to the pool and take buckets of soil from my planters and dump it into the pool. $400 in damage, and my brand new $1,000 pump heater system that was up less than 4 hours. I snapped and screamed at her to get out of my yard and never come back. She's not allowed in my yard at all unless me or my spouse is out there. Now, to current time. They had a baby last week and me hammering in my basement is disturbing them in their house 33 feet away. And they expect me to wait until the fall to finish my project. So I'm currently sitting on my bench outside enjoying a glass of water with my outdoor speaker playing metal while I mow the lawn, which is much more louder than a little bit of hammering. I'll finish that tonight after dark. Okay guys, this story is nuts. First of all, I don't think OP handled this to the maximum. I would be getting police involved, I would be recording everything, I would be calling CPS, because this is why. What if the girl jumps over the fence and OP does not notice? Heaven forbid she ends up in the pool and does not know how to swim. You guys know where I'm going with this. The legal implications of this would put OP in fault, even though every single measurement was done to prevent someone from getting in. All the little girl had to do was climb the fence, and there she was next to the pool. However, the mother could possibly face charges, and I think she should, for childhood neglect. Guys, let me know exactly what you would have done if you were in the situation of OP. That's the final story I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed all the content, and tomorrow, Mr. Reddita will be back for yet another video. I hope to see you guys there, and have a wonderful night.